how do you deal with being exhausted? You rest, you sleep, but you're still exhausted and in pain. So that was a question from Lynn. Lynn, sorry to hear that's your experience. So I'm going to share a few thoughts. And again, I'm sharing this with love, without judgment, and I encourage you to have self-compassion, okay? So take what's helpful, discard anything that doesn't feel like a fit, okay? So the first thing I'd say is, if you are exhausted, it's really important to consider how you can conserve your energy. Now, I know that might be a statement of the obvious, okay? However, I know for me, when I had ME/CFS, there were times when I wasn't conserving my energy when I was exhausted, okay? So I want to break this down into kind of 4 elements. So Daphne says, my concentration and memory are affected by ME/CFS. I want to use yoga, but frequently forget or can't stick to the practice for very long. Okay, what I'd say, Daphne, is it's just to simplify, okay? To really develop a really simple practice, okay? When I was really poorly, I would just do Qigong for 1 minute, okay? And in the video where I talk about Qigong, I walk you through what I did, all right? So check that out. So I'd really encourage you. And the other thing, I've actually got 3 pieces of paper with stick figures doing the different postures. And I wrote them down years ago, and I just follow that, okay? So I really encourage you to come up with an aid to help you, all right? So let's go back to this question, but thank you for your comment, Daphne. What I want to talk about is just breaking this down into 4 elements. First of all, physical, okay? So what can you do to support your body if you are exhausted, okay? It might be that one of the things, certainly, that I found useful is just to, as I said earlier, to do some Qigong for 1 minute. And I would do that 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, just for a minute. And it was a way of strengthening my body. And I did notice that even doing it just for a minute seemed to strengthen my body. And I forget that now. I aim to do some Qigong every morning because I find it a really useful practice. And if I am feeling a little bit under the weather, you know, I don't do that so often, just do it for a minute or 5 minutes. And actually, this is a reminder to me that it'd be useful to do that in those times. So think about how you can support your physical body. Are there things that you could do in terms of nutrition? Okay. So one is gentle movement, really gentle based on how you're feeling. The next is nutrition. What could I do to support my body? Is what I'm eating supporting my body's healing, or is it driving inflammation? Often people don't realise they eat kind of processed foods, sugar, which will drive inflammation. So the more we can eat plenty of veg, good quality protein, good quality carbs, you know, boiled sweet potatoes rather than chips, for example. Chips are a kind of once a week, once a fortnight treat. I love sweet potato chips. So once in a while I'll have them, but it's not what I have every day. Okay, brown rice is a carb that's, you know, breaks down more slowly. Porridge is good according to people from Zoe. If you don't know Zoe, it's an app that was developed during COVID, but they offer a lot of advice about healthy nutrition, so check them out. What could you do in terms of visualization, just to calm your body, support your body's healing? Remember that visualizing doing exercise, okay, actually strengthens our body, okay? And the other thing is just consider how you can build your tolerance of the physical sensations which might feel uncomfortable, okay? And check out the video I've been talking about where I answered the question, how to deal with anxiety, all right? So check that video out. Next thing I want to talk about is kind of the feeling and emotional level. How can I nurture myself in relation to my emotions? I might be feeling some sense of distress because I'm feeling sensations, I'm feeling physical sensations, and that causes me to generate emotion like upset. How can I nurture myself? Might be giving myself a hug. It might be some of my clients, I've encouraged them to, or I've suggested to them that they hug a pillow and imagine they're hugging their like little self. And people 9 times out of 10 tell me that they find that helpful and comforting. Okay. Another good way of kind of working with emotions is journaling. So how can you take care of your feelings, your emotions? You might imagine having a conversation. That part of you that's wise, see the last video where I talk about dealing with anxiety, having a conversation with the part of you that is feeling upset. You might imagine moving between 2 chairs and having a conversation. So play around with that, okay? I did do this visualization where I got people, take people on this guided visualization. They go up a mountain and they meet their guru, if you like. They meet someone who's super wise and they imagine having a conversation. They talk to them about their problems and they see what the wise person has to say about that. Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, talks about having a conference. I think he did that every night. Imagine walking into a room, sitting at a table, and round the table are all these wise people of his choice. It might be Newton, Einstein, if that was the right era. But he'd have a whole load of people, an ex-president, and he'd imagine chatting to them about his issues and see what they've got to say. So you can use your mind to create scenarios to help you find solutions. And it's often very interesting to me when I do any of those exercises. I quite like the one where you go up the mountain and I find this log cabin and there's 2 chairs and I sit in one of the chairs and this wise soul comes out, sits in the other chair and we have a conversation. I tell them my issues and I listen to them, what they've got to say. And I often find it very helpful when I do it I come away with some food for thought. All right. So next thing is just checking in with what's going on a mental level. What is your mind doing? Are you actually kind of maintaining a state of calm and acceptance and patience and trust? Or is your mind kind of generating fear-based thinking? All right. So just check out what's going on a mental level. Are you going to your head and creating stories, catastrophizing, chastising yourself, distracting yourself in ways that are not very helpful? And finally, what's going on a spiritual level? And by that I simply mean whether you're kind of operating from fear or trust. I talk about people having a fear operating system. And if that's the case, that's understandable. There are reasons why you've got a fear operating system. It's because you've learned strategies that cause dysregulation and haven't learned how to heal those wounds that may be experienced when you were young. Okay? But if we recognize that that's happening, we can again tune in to that part of us that's wise. Again, I talk about that in the video where I talk about strategies for dealing with anxiety. So just recognize where you're on that spectrum between fear and trust. Okay, where are you on that spectrum? What is one small step you could take to move towards more trust? So Alan says, do you have a video on developing trust? What I'd say, Alan, is the flip the switch exercise kind of is all about cultivating trust, cultivating a growth mindset. So if you'd like that exercise, comment flip in the chat. I think I have actually linked it in the 47 Strategies for Calm document. So if you want that document, just put the number 47. I'll send you the link and you can access a whole load of strategies and ideas for calm. So I'm going to pause there, but I'd love to know what's one takeaway. I hope that's given you food for thought. Alan says, thanks so much. You are welcome. If you've got any questions, get in touch. If you'd like to know more about the programs, so I created a course called the Calm Course. I've created a course called Building Resilience, which you can do as an online self-learning, or you can do it one-to-one or in a group. If you'd like to know more about that, just get in touch. So Alan says, takeaway, there's lots we can do to feel better. Yeah, that's a great philosophy, Alan. That's certainly my philosophy, is that we can take action. So keep up the great work. Got any questions, get in touch. But for now, I'll say thanks for watching. Thanks for your interaction. It makes it more interesting for me. Keep going. You've got this. Wishing you great health. Bye for now.